This is After the Buzzer, a weekly sports feature program on 91X. I'm Benjamin Obey. On today's show, a look into pregame stresses. How do athletes deal with the pressures? We'll also look at former NHL player and ex-prison inmate Tom McCarthy getting his second life as coach of the Trenton Golden Hawks. Loyalist College welcomes a new Lancer to the men's basketball team and is Hockeyville coming to Belleville. The Belleville Memorial Arena Preservation Society is trying to make it happen. How an athlete deals with pregame anxiety can be a deciding factor in their level of confidence and performance. Ayanna Bretherick takes a look at the way 3 different athletes handle their pregame stresses.
Adrenaline rush, an activity of the adrenal gland in a fight or flight response when it's releasing epinephrine. Sounds pretty scientific, doesn't it? Everyone's felt it. That feeling of butterflies in your stomach and cold sweats. Sometimes the feeling can be so overwhelming, makes you sick. The best way to handle it? Just deal with it. People deal with pregame anxiety and stress in a variety of different ways, some a little more obscure than others. Former Toronto Nationals assistant coach Paul Stewart used his favorite number as a way to get focused.
One of the things I used to like to do was a lot of times there'd be an NHL game before us. I like to sit in the stands. And I wore number 17 when I played. 2 of my kids wear it now. I'd go up in the stands, I'd find a seat with a 17 on it, and I'd sit in it with headphones on and listen to music and watch them put the floor down.
Another lacrosse icon and Stewart's best friend, Sean Williams, is a veteran in the NLL and the captain of the Rochester Nighthawks. His experience in the league has taught him anxiety can be beneficial.
I think in certain situations where playing for a championship or getting into playoff games, then you have it. You get those little bit of butterflies, which I think are good. I think, but again, it goes back to I just tell myself you've done this 1,000 times, and you know the magnitude of the game.
Lacrosse isn't the only sport in which athletes have the pressure to perform. At Central Michigan University, Mike Murray is a heavyweight on the Chippewas wrestling team. He uses a blood-pumping warm-up to get his head in the game.
I always listen to music. Usually like hard rock or metal, and then I do some high jumps, so I'll squat down and jump as high as I can with my knees to my chest, and then I'll do some fake shots and shadow wrestling, and just do a bunch of movements that you would be doing in a wrestling match.
It can be a high-intensity team sport like hockey or a low-intensity solo sport like, let's say, sumo wrestling. It doesn't really matter what you do. You're always going to have that little bit of anxiety right before you step out onto the playing surface.
To be honest, I don't really have the anxieties. I think as the years go on, you have a little bit of. I wouldn't even say apprehension. I think I just so used to knowing my role and knowing what I got to do.
For After the Buzzer, I'm Ayanna Bretherick.
Drafted 10th overall in the 1979 NHL entry draft, Tom McCarthy played 9 seasons with the Minnesota North Stars and the Boston Bruins. In 460 games, McCarthy tallied 399 points. In his first year as head coach of the Trenton Golden Hawks, McCarthy brings more to the table than his on-ice experience. Bron Geller has more on the story.
After spending 1,460 days behind bars in Leavenworth Penitentiary, McCarthy is back behind the bench coaching the Trenton Golden Hawks in his first year.
This is support being embraced here to come to Trenton. And you talk support, and I'll probably get very emotional, but my father fought for 3 years to get me home to Canada. And because of him, it's why I'm available to be here. And God bless him, He knew. I knew. But hey, that's what we're about. That's what our family's about.
What happened to Tom McCarthy has been an ordeal. An NHL player at 18, he retired after 9 years due to injury. 6 years later, in 1994, he was busted for conspiracy to traffic marijuana. McCarthy was charged and convicted even though he claims he wasn't directly involved.
I had associates or friends for 14 years that were involved in drug smuggling. Distribution obviously comes when you smuggle it in, you have to distribute it. And when their time came and they got arrested or somehow through their channel of people that they're involved in, they had implemented me as being a part of it.
McCarthy was released in 1998. 12 years later, he's coaching in Trenton. The Golden Hawks Director of Player Development, John McDonald, knew it was the right thing to do when the team hired McCarthy.
What I was concerned about is what a small town like Trenton would think about somebody as high profile as Tommy coming here with the background. Having watched the man play all those years, I knew what he could bring to these kids.
McDonald had coached McCarthy when he played his junior hockey in Toronto, so he knew what he'd bring to the team. And the players have no problem with the ex-con being behind their bench.
Both the whole what happened in his past and everything else, and I think it's just amazing how they gave him a second chance.
For the record, he seems like you'd obviously if you've heard about him, you'd think he'd be kind of rough around the edges and all that. But he's a great guy, awesome guy, one of the nicest people I've ever met.
He's taught me, just if you make mistakes, the only way that the only way you're going to get better or improve in life is to make mistakes and to fail. So. That's probably the biggest thing he's taught me.
I come to the rink early most of the time, and I'll sit there and I'll talk to Tommy about our past games, our practices, what we're going to do in practice, and all that stuff.
He knows the game very well, but he also teaches a lot of life skills to his players, which I think is uncommon with coaches.
Seems like he has advice about everything. I mean, he's seen both the bad ends of the world, the good upsides of the world. He's seen basically everything.
McCarthy has a one-year contract with the Trenton Golden Hawks. He says he'd like to rejoin the team next year so he can help players avoid making the same mistakes he once did.
I think I have more to teach because I can teach the hockey part like other hockey people, but I think my life experiences offer some direction or some maybe help in experience or knowledge in areas that people only wonder about and don't know about. And I can certainly tell you firsthand, and I'll be very candid about it. I think it's a tool that I've been offered, and I need to use it. And I use it, and I try to spread it everywhere and anywhere I can.
One of the good things about life is you do get a second chance, and Tommy has taken that opportunity to try to teach these young guys so they don't make the same mistakes that he made.
And John McDonald has even learned something from McCarthy being behind the bench.
One of the things that I've learned watching from Tommy is that there's another aspect to the game off the ice too. We're going to give him a second chance. We expect everybody else to give him a second chance. And it's worked out great.
For After the Buzzer, I'm Bron Geller.
With an injury-filled season coming to an end, the Loyalist Lancers men's basketball team welcomes a new player. At 6 wins and 12 losses, the Lancers are still hoping to grab the last playoff spot in the OCAA. Megan Burke has more on the team's newest member.
He will only record 4 games played in his Ontario college career as a Lancer, but new player Curtis Stoker couldn't be happier to help the team out. The 22-year-old from Cobourg, Ontario, joined the team for his first official game as a Lancer on February 8th with only 1 practice under his belt. Stoker says he was approached to play for the Lancers by the basketball team and will do his best to help out on the boards.
They were saying they're in a playoff position, and since they lost 3 key players, especially their 2 big guys due to injuries, that they needed someone with the experience and size to come in and help with the boards. So I'm saying, well, if you guys need the help, I'll come out and do my best.
Head coach Daryl McGrath met Stoker last year when he first came to Loyalist, but says Stoker wanted to concentrate on his studies rather than fill his schedule up with basketball. This time around, when the Lancers needed a big player, McGrath says it wasn't hard to persuade Stoker to play.
I think he's in his final year, and I think he just wanted to get back into sports because he is an athlete. And he wanted to get, he's in shape. He's a big kid, but I think he just wanted to get in shape, a little cardiovascular shape. So, what a great way to do that.
Stoker's first game as a Lancer was up against his former team, the Fleming Knights. Being on the court again gave Stoker the realization he might be a little rusty.
It brought back old memories. I played against Loyalists when I was scouted for Fleming, so. The basketball skills are still there, just the legs aren't there. It's been 4 years since I played basketball, and I'm a little bit heavier than I was when I was 18, now that I'm 22. So it was good. Being tired kind of makes you kind of get lazy in the offensive, but I did the boards and I did what they wanted me to do tonight.
Stoker was eased onto the court by Coach McGrath, playing sparingly in his first action of the season. He finished with 4 points and 4 rebounds. McGrath wasn't sure what to expect, but was happy with the results.
I didn't have huge expectations for him, and I thought he came out and played hard and seems to have a good head on his shoulders as well.
Stoker's arrival coincides with Captain Trevor Mayer's season-ending knee injury. Although not able to play, Mayer continues to show support for his team by attending home games. From the bench, Mayer also liked what he saw from his replacement under the basket.
Came in right away and set the tone that he was going to box out and be physical and get rebounds, because all night, like, the guys had major problems on the offensive rebounds, giving up too many offensive rebounds. And he just came in and did his thing, boxed out, got some balls.
Despite the basketball team's struggles this year, Stoker is enjoying his time as a Lancer, no matter how short-lived it will be.
Great group of guys. I wish they came out here last year and played with them, because they got a good dynamic. And we're not the most skilled team, but we play as a team.
For After the Buzzer, I'm Megan Burke.
Since 2006, the Kraft Hockeyville contest has been awarding a $100,000 grant to a hockey-crazed Canadian community. I recently looked into the local grassroots efforts that are currently underway throughout the city. The city of Belleville's history of hockey folklore and tradition run as deep as any communities in Ontario. It is the birthplace of many current and former NHLers, including Hockey Hall of Famers Bobby and Brett Hull. Since 1980, Belleville has also been home to the Ontario Hockey League's Bulls. But many say the Bulls owe their existence to a team that came before them, the Belleville McFarlands, who captured the World Hockey Championship in 1959. Now, some 50 years later, local residents are hoping the Kraft Hockeyville contest can help save the ice where the McFarlands once skated. The enthusiasm for the Hockeyville project stems largely from the 83-year-old Memorial Arena, located in the heart of downtown Belleville. The arena was forced to shut down in late December due to failures in the ice maintenance equipment. Bill Belknap is one of the voices trying to raise awareness for Belleville's Hockeyville bid.
The next 2 to 3 weeks is going to be a big key. The submissions to Hockeyville are coming in fast and furious, and they show a passion for hockey, for the recreational life. We've got doctors, we've got lawyers, we've got figure skating coaches.
Outside the arena on the streets, many citizens seem willing to take up the cause.
We need this old building, and we need the arena to be maintained as an arena, nothing else and nothing more.
Kraft Hockeyville. Oh, that's awesome. I think it'd be really great for the community, and it would be really great to help out the rinks.
With the $100,000 grant on the line, there's no shortage of areas in the old Memorial Arena that need maintenance.
The grant, $100,000, would go a long way to refurbishing dressing rooms, paint, and things like that. I don't think they want to change the whole outlook. They don't want to modernize it with glass facade. Keep it as it was. My feeling is it's a good heritage rink. You don't need the glass and brass.
High school teacher Todd Crawford is as familiar as anyone when it comes to local hockey lore. His father is Belleville legend Floyd Crawford, who captained the McFarlands in their championship days. Now, both father and son are members of the arena's preservation society.
We figured the best way to do this was to go proactive and do something that was going to bring revenue to the city, exposure to the city, positive exposure, and talk about the plight of the arena.
In addition to financial support, last year's Hockeyville winners, Dundas, Ontario, got to host an NHL preseason game between the Ottawa Senators and the Buffalo Sabres in their home rink. While that would surely be nice for Belleville, Belknap knows there's a deeper reason for the community to rally together for this cause.
Heritage is the thing that you pass on to your kids and future generations. As much as they may not remember the bodies and the actual people, I think they have to remember that this was once world champion city, and we don't want to take that away. We may not have another championship this close, so let's remember it, and remember it for another 300 years.
The two communities chosen to go head-to-head to represent the Ontario region will be selected by Kraft on March 8th. They will look over the thousands of stories that have poured in from all over the province since the submission period ended on January 30th. Belleville will be up against some stiff competition, as both the Langton and Navan communities have received over a whopping 900 story submissions. But contest rules, as well as participants, are quick to point out that it's not the quantity of memories that count, but the quality. For After the Buzzer, I'm Benjamin Obey. You've been listening to After the Buzzer, a feature presentation of Loyalist Sports Journalism students. Our faculty advisor and executive producer is Tony Orr. For Megan Burke, Ayana Bretherick, and Braun Geller, I'm Benjamin Obey, inviting you to join us next week for another edition of After the Buzzer on 91X.